3.
All right, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Zoning Board of Adjustment for April 17th, 2025. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, so good evening, everybody, ladies and gentlemen. Just a couple of rules before we proceed. These proceedings are audio-video recorded, scheduled to terminate at 10 p.m. And in the event of an emergency, please exit to the rear of the room. Don't use the elevator, and shut off all cell phones, iPhones, iPads, anything else that could create a distraction of the proceedings. Before we proceed, let's take a roll call vote, please. Mr. Corbett?
Here.
Mrs. Moran?
Here.
Mr. Tripp?
Here.
Mr. Burgess?
Here.
Alternates, Mr. Donlin?
Here.
Mr. Dietzel? Thank you, Mr. Dietzel. Mr. Obimba? Mr. Dragani?
Here.
Okay, very good. Following our policies and procedures, we do an election of officers, appointment of officers, and as per our policies and procedures, primary members have an opportunity to ask for the chair, and likewise the vice chair and secretary. That can be motioned to pass if you'd like, but sticking with that, Mr. Corbett, you have a nomination for chair?
I'm going to lead a coup. No, I nominate Mr. Perkins to be reappointed as chair.
I'll second that.
Mr. Burgess is along with that. Mr. Tripp, you have a nominee?
No.
No? You want to leave the chair open for the next 12 months?
Sure.
No. All right. Mrs.
I
Moran?
believe that you're nominated.
All right, very good. Mrs. Moran, you all set with that nomination?
I am.
All right, so Mr. Perkins as chair. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none. I like status quo. If that works for everybody else, I'll nominate Mr. Corbett as vice chair. Mrs. Moran?
I'll second it.
Okay. Mr. Burgess?
I'll go with that too.
You all right with that, Mr. Tripp? You as well?
Sure.
Okay, very good. All in favor of Mr. Corbett as vice chair, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing
Thank you.
none. Ms. Corbett would like to nominate as secretary.
Yeah, I would like to reappoint Ms. Moran as secretary.
Very good.
I'll second it.
Okay, and I'm on board with that as well. Mr. Tripp, you as well?
I'm okay.
Very good. Mrs. Moran, you okay for that?
No.
All right, very good. I like the enthusiasm. All in favor of Mrs. Moran as secretary, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Very good. For all you folks here, we do this once a year, and you're privileged to be here. And for me, it's excitement because I get to hear my name called without an expletive followed by it. So with that, we're all set to get going with our cases for the evening. Thank you, everybody, for your confidence, and I look forward to a good next year. First case up is case number 25-107, which is Tapir Properties LLC. The owners are Tapir Properties LLC. The parcel is 32028 29 Crystal Ave. This is a request for a rehearing that was submitted within 30 days. However, we have not met in quite a while. And this case was originally heard on February 20th. I'm a little fuzzy on this, and we pick up our packets during the week here. There's a lot of assertions that this attorney has made to justify his request for a rehearing. For myself, whereas this is not fresh in my mind, we heard it 2 months ago. My preference is to have an opportunity to review the video because the assertions that are being pointed out by this attorney representing Tapir Properties are pretty strong. And I'm confident that this board did the right thing, but that being said, I want to be sure of the decisions that we make for this rehearing. What I would like to do is an opportunity to review this on video. Mr. Provencher, that would be available to all of us, am I correct?
Correct.
Okay, and at which time we would come back and make a vote on this. Therefore, that would require tabling the decision on this until all the board members have an opportunity to do the same and review the video of this meeting from February 20th and have an opportunity to see if there's any merit to the assertions that this attorney has posted in his appeal or request for rehearing. That's my basis. Of course, I don't make the motion, but that's what I'd like to see us, the path we go down. And if we can get a motion and second that, we can have further discussion on it, if there's support from the board.
I'll make that motion to table case number 25-107 until the video's reviewed.
Okay, very good. Thank you, Mrs. Moran. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Thank you, Mr. Burgess. Let's have some discussion on this. Anybody else have any input? Mr. Tripp?
Being somewhat familiar with Robert's Rules of Order, usually when you table something, you table it to a date certain,
Okay.
which is the condition that you're setting is when we finish reviewing the video, so which is, kind of loosely defined.
Okay.
Other than that, I agree with you that, my memory is a little dim on this, it
Okay.
being 2 months ago.
Date certain. Mr. Burgess, any comments?
I have a question.
Yes.
Would we do this, would we be reviewing this?
Can you speak in
Together?
your microphone?
I'm right here on top of it, so I can't get any better than this. This is all I got,
All right, so.
okay?
Yeah.
So the thing is that I'm let me get started again. Would we be reviewing this together or individually?
You'll be reviewing this individually at your own time frame.
Wouldn't it be better if we were doing it together?
No,
Why?
because you make your own decision
Oh.
on the vote, and that would be a quorum.
That is a good point.
We wouldn't be doing it during a meeting.
All right.
Okay? Anything else?
No, other than that,
Okay?
I can see why.
Okay, Mr. Corbett?
I'm good with that, tabling to May 1st.
Okay, very good. What is our next scheduled meeting, Mrs. Peoples? Oh, May Day, nice, okay. All right. May 1st is a date certain for you, Mr. Tripp?
It is.
And that'll give you enough time to review this and compare the commentary from this attorney and compare it to your, to the actual case that occurred, correct? Yep.
Okay.
Okay.
Mr.,
Yes, sir, Mr. Burgess.
I was not here for this.
You were not, that's correct. Mr. Drugani sat on this.
Ah,
Mr.
see?
Drugani, care to give us any input on this?
I would actually like to review everything again myself, so.
Okay, very good. Thank you for pointing that out, Mr. Burgess.
You're
You
welcome.
fine with the date certain, Mr. Drugani?
Yes.
Okay, Mrs. Moran, can you throw a motion together on this?
Yes.
Okay, very good. I think May 1st works.
I'm going to ask one more question.
Yes, sir.
Would you like the rest of us to review it also, just in case?
It certainly is available to anybody in the event that this was reheard. All board members have an opportunity to ask questions pertinent to the
Okay.
case, correct?
Yes,
Okay,
sir.
very good. Mrs. Moran, you want to go ahead and read that motion?
Yes. I make a motion on case number 25-107 to table it to our next meeting, May 1st, 2025, regarding the rehearing for Tapier Properties LLC.
And that
Second.
concludes-
And that concludes the reading of the motion. I need a second, please.
Thank you. Mr. Drugani,
Oh, I'm sorry.
you want a second?
I'll second, sorry.
Thank you very much. The motion's second on the floor. Mr. Corbett, you have, want to do any finding of fact for that at all? I don't, I don't.
I have one for the rehearing. Do we need one for tabling the rehearing?
Slippery slope there, right? The
You can add-
legislature didn't quite spell it out clearly for us, but can you do one brief, a couple of points, main points to this?
Yeah, quite a few points. Finding a fact for the rehearing, or finding a fact for case 25-107, rehearing for case 25-105. The board found that the applicant has requested and moved for rehearing by the ZBA of a decision rendered on or about February 20th, 2025, the board has moved forward with tabling this until our next meeting. The appeal is on the following grounds. Board stated its decision is without prejudice, without clarifying what would be required in a subsequent application. That the applicant could have no way of knowing that attempting to rent the property commercially would be a concern for the board. That the board's decision is unlawful because it violates RSA 676:3 by not stating specific findings of fact in support of the decision. That the board misunderstood the law requiring a variance on 3 counts. Failure to consider the legal criteria of RSA 674.33I, A, 2, A, C, or D. Failure to consider the legal criteria of RSA 674:33 I.A to B correctly as a matter of law. Additional failure to consider the legal criteria of RSA 674:33 A to B correctly as a matter of law, raising issues that call for material not reasonably expected to be available in the application. For additional failure to consider the legal criteria of RSA 674:33 I.A to E correctly as a matter of law. For 2 counts of improper procedure, for a disqualification of bias, and for gross negligence or bad faith of the board in rendering its decision. Also, the property is zoned general commercial, which is not listed residential as a permitted use in the district. Therefore, a variance to the provision was being requested. That the floor plan submitted showed a 2-bedroom unit being proposed, and that if approved, the appropriate building and life safety code requirements must be complied with regarding egress, etc. The board also included all facts found in the meeting minutes for the application and incorporated all meeting minutes into its finding of fact and decisions. And that concludes.
Okay. Any alterations to that from any of the board members? Seeing no gestures there, all in favor of moving this motion for a vote, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Mr. Dragani?
I did say aye.
Okay, that's a yes.
Yes.
Mr. Tripp?
Yes.
Okay, and this is the table, by the way, Mr. Burgess.
Yes.
And I think I screwed up there because I had Mr. Dragani in place of Mr. Burgess. Mrs. Moran?
Chair, I vote yes.
Okay, and Mr. Corbett?
Also a yes.
And the chair will make that yes, so date certain is May 1st. We'll review the video for this meeting and come back and discuss the rehearing potential for this application. Okay?
Okay.
Very good. Thank you, everybody. All right, next up is case number 25-108, James M. Lavelle, LLS, representing Cheryl Rivera, the Riviera would be someplace else, and this is for 14 Hilda Ave. Mr. Burgess, can you shut that phone off, please?
Damn,
Thank you.
I did. Sorry.
Good evening, Mr. Lavelle, welcome back. You recall our protocols, correct? Like
Yes.
the 5 criteria read for the record, and then we'll proceed with questions and musicals.
Okay. For the record, Ryan Lavelle, Lavelle Associates, representing the owners. Number 1, variance will not be contrary to the public interest because the variance will allow for a practical exchange of land between 2 properties, enabling the development of a new dwelling on an adjacent lot that faces unique constraints. The proposed lot line adjustment is minimal, affecting only a portion of the requesting property, specifically a wet, underutilized area that is not actively used. This exchange will not negatively impact surrounding properties or public infrastructure. It ensures that the neighboring property can develop within necessary setbacks, promoting the reasonable use of the land without disrupting the public interest. Number 2, the spirit of the ordinance is observed because the variance will facilitate a reasonable and effective use of the land. While the requesting lot remains largely unchanged, the minor lot line adjustment supports the development of a new dwelling on the neighboring property by providing additional space needed for necessary septic and building setbacks. This allows for compliance with zoning regulations and respects the intent of the ordinance while minimizing any impact on the non-conforming status of the requested lot. Substantial justice is done because the variance enables the neighboring property to be developed in a way that is both reasonable and compliant with zoning requirements. The lot line adjustment provides a solution for the landowner to use their property more effectively without causing harm to neighboring properties. The requested lot will not be negatively impacted, and the exchange facilitates a practical solution for the new construction on the adjacent property, ensuring its developments within proper setbacks. The value of surrounding properties are not diminished because the lot line adjustment does not result in overcrowding or negatively affect the aesthetics of the neighborhood. The adjustment only involves the transfer of a small portion of land, specifically an area near the rear of the property to the adjacent lot. This change does not impact the overall character or value of the surrounding properties. Furthermore, the new dwelling will be sited in compliance with setbacks with the variances and designed to fit harmoniously within the neighborhood, maintaining the integrity of the area and preserving property values. Literal enforcement of the provisions. Number one, no fair and substantial relationship exists between the general public purposes of the ordinance provision and the specific application of that provision to the property. There is no fair and substantial relationship because the property at just 0.53 acres, 229, is already under the minimum required size for a non-conforming lot. The proposed exchange of 992 square feet to the adjacent lot, tax map 59, lot 13, allows for a more reasonable development of that neighboring lot, which is constrained by setbacks. This minor lot line adjustment addresses the unique conditions of the property, enabling more effective use of the land for the proposed construction of a new home on the neighboring lot. The exchange of land will not significantly alter the overall size of the requested lot, and it resolves a practical issue of land use and site development for the neighbor without imposing a substantial impact on the original lot. The proposed use is a reasonable one. The proposed exchange of 992 square feet is a reasonable request because it allows for the better development of the neighboring lot by providing additional space to accommodate the new dwelling while ensuring proper setbacks for septic systems, etc. This adjustment is practical and does not result in any significant change to the requested lot. It enables the neighbor's new dwelling to be sited more effectively on a lot that is similarly constrained by its size and setback requirements. This exchange also aligns with the intent of the zoning ordinance, which is to provide functional use of the land while respecting required setbacks. And B, the requested lot, tax map 59, lot 11, is constrained by its size, and a strict application of the ordinance would leave it as a non-conforming lot less than an acre in size, which limits its practical use. While the property itself is not being developed, the exchange of the 992 square feet is needed to allow for reasonable development of the neighboring lot, where a new home is being proposed. Without the variance, the neighboring lot would face significant constraints in siting the new dwelling due to setback limitations and other zoning restrictions. Therefore, the variance is necessary to enable the reasonable use of the adjacent property, facilitating a more functional development. If you guys have any questions, be happy to answer them at this point.
Anybody wish to open?
Mr. Lavelle, we're going 992 square feet from 11 to 13, you said?
That is correct.
And it's just that sliver between the two properties as I'm looking on the survey?
Yeah, it's that 12 feet at the road that it calls out, and kind of gets skinnier as you go towards the rear of the lot. It's hard to see on 11 by 17s, but the new line is kind of more in line with the natural wood line that exists. That kind of swervy line is the edge of the woods. So it's kind of, in essence, putting the line more so where it's intended to, where it looks like it go if you drive through there, or, you know what I mean?
Yep, so more in line, more of a natural.
More in line with what's
delineation.
naturally going on out there.
No, so Jared, relatively straightforward as far as I am for questions at this time.
Anybody else? Mr. Burgess, Mr. Dietzel?
I was out there yesterday looking at this. And the only problem I would ever see is there's a lot of water around it. And is this encroaching on any of that?
If this board recalls, there were 2 variances granted on on the property with the new dwelling. I'm not sure, I don't have the date right this second, but the variances were for being too close to wetland, and they were granted by this
That was on
board.
the original property, about the new one.
Yeah, they were granted on the
Oh, okay,
new
okay.
home, not
All right.
nothing's going on the lot that we're taking the 992 square feet from. Just construction's being proposed on map 59, lot 13.
Yeah, I was out there yesterday, and it's just, it's a lot, and there's another lot on the other side, and you're just moving a very small amount of space to get 992 out of, so,
Very minimal.
yeah. I really don't see much. Okay, thank you.
No problem.
So it's Hilda that's asking for the extra,
The Hilda property is asking for the variance because they're the ones that are losing that square
I see.
footage.
okay, got it.
Um,
Thank you.
That's a good question.
Mrs. Moran,
I have nothing at this time.
Mr. Tripp?
So there's a pre-existing building on the lot that is receiving the 900 square feet?
That's correct. I'm not sure. I do have the owner of that lot behind me. I'm not sure if he's knocked down that dwelling yet. It's been knocked down at this point, but there was. At the time of the survey, that building was still there, hence why I'm showing it.
So you're just asking to replace in kind?
Basically, yeah, on the plan, it shows, it was up there previously, where the existing one was and where the proposed one lands. They're in similar location. The new one's further away from Mark Ave, and received a variance for that. And it is slightly closer to wetland, but again, received a variance for that too from this board. You kind of see there's double houses going on that lot, because I just wanted to show the board that what was existing and what's being proposed, as I thought that would be a good narrative.
Okay. If I'm not mistaken, that whole area has a high water table, does it not?
Yeah, that would be safe to say.
All right, anyone down the line? Mr. Donlin?
Mr. Tripp asked my primary question. If I'm understanding this correctly, it looks like they want to build a newer house and keep it as far away from the wetlands as possible, and with the septic setbacks, they need the 12 feet. Is that fairly accurate?
It does help. The 12 feet helps a lot with the setback from the septic to the lot line, as it's 10 feet. It also, like I alluded to earlier, it makes more sense for the lot line to be there, because that's where the natural tree line is. You can see that there's a shed to be removed. It was being used as their land before the current owner. In essence, it's a weird setup over there, and what we're doing is kind of making it more natural to the aesthetics of what's going on, kind of correcting it to what's being occupied, if you will.
Fair enough.
You're doing a raised leach field?
I did not do the septic designs, nor do I have it on me, but I would assume that it's a high water table and that it's going to be a higher grade.
And so this probably moderates the slope off the edge of the leach field, I guess.
That definitely helps too, and makes it so no waivers need to be requested or anything like that. I think it's pretty orderly development.
All right. Mr. Dragani?
I just, yeah, I was looking at it the opposite way. I thought you were going the other direction. So no, I don't have any questions.
Okay. Very good. Anybody else? We're all set. Anything else you wish to add?
No, I feel I conveyed it pretty good to you guys.
All
I
right,
appreciate
Mr.
it.
Mackey, you want to give us any information?
Yeah, probably just to clarify again, that the smaller lot on Mark Ave, 5913, again, that's not requesting a variance because that already received variances to replace the house, which is which is happening as we speak, and it did receive a variance to the 30-foot wetland setback as well as to the front property line. What is actually being asked here is because the parcel at 5911, they're actually losing some property that's in the MDR zoning district, which is 1 acre zoning. Both parcels, as they stand today, are under that lot size requirement, which isn't unusual around Rainbow Lake. And they're actually giving up a little bit of land, thus becoming more non-conforming. That's what the variance is being asked for, nothing to do with the actual new house that's going to be built. So I just wanted to clarify that.
Got it.
Well
Okay.
said.
All right, thank you, Mr. Mack. Any further questions from the board? Seeing no gestures there,
I
okay.
see nothing.
We'll make a call to the public, how's that?
Sounds
Okay.
good.
We have those phone numbers up there, Mr. Preventure, and
Yes, Mr.
to
Chair.
be narrated by Mr. Corbett.
Yep. Anyone at home who wishes to dial in, you're going to dial 646-558-8656, and your meeting ID is 323-909-140. Once you're in, you're going to press star 9 to raise your hand. If you're having any technical issues, please dial 603-845-5585, and someone will help you.
All right, very good. So anybody out there who wishes to speak in favor of this application, this would be your opportunity to come forward and be heard. Likewise, pertaining to Mr. Corbett's phone numbers, he's announced anyone who's remote, you're welcome to call in and we'll bring you into the meeting. Seeing no gestures there in the room, anybody out there, Mr. Preventure?
Seeing none rise,
All
Mr.
right,
Chair.
very good. So anybody who's in opposition to this application, this would be your opportunity to come forward and have your voice heard as well. And likewise, anyone who is remote that would like to give some opposition to this, this is your opportunity to be heard as well. We pause, and any gestures there, Mr. Preventure?
Seeing none, Mr. Chair.
All right, very good. Well, then we'll presume that we've met the statute for public input on this, and welcome Mr. Lavelle back up, and we can see if we can wrap up here. Mr. Lavelle, you have anything left you would like to add?
I am all set, thank you.
Okay, very good. So that being the case, we can take a motion for...
I'll make the motion to go into deliberative session.
Thank you, Mr. Burgess, like a true veteran. Can I have a second, please? Very good. Mrs. Moran has a second. Deliberation, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none. We're deliberating. Anybody wish to lead off?
Sure. I see nothing wrong with this. It seems quite easy.
Okay,
Yeah, all the variants have already been applied. It's just a small lot line. It doesn't make a whole heck, except it gives you a little more room on your leach field.
okay. Mr. Corbett?
Yeah, I don't have really any problems with this one. Normally, I don't like seeing something go from non-conforming to more non-conforming. In this case, it looks like it's just a situation of being a good neighbor, straightening out a potential headache. So I have absolutely no qualms with this.
Okay, Mrs. Moran?
Chair, I also have no problems with this.
Okay, Mr. Tripp, you good?
Yeah, but the only point I would make is that the lot line adjust makes it less non-conforming.
Understood, yep. But I think it cleans up, from my viewpoint on this, it cleans up that whole corner area
Yep.
and helps it blend better, and someone might not be looking down a sled hill in the winter on that leach field versus some moderate grade. So I think this is favorable, and I thought it was well thought out, so I have no objections to it. We have our motion to structure. This is relative to Article 6, Section 165-46C1A. We're looking at subject to state, town permits and inspections. Anybody else wish to add any conditions to this motion? Seeing no gestures there, all right. That being the case, we can come out of deliberation.
Make that motion.
Thank you, Mr. Corbett.
I'll second it.
Mr. Burgess has a second. All in favor of coming out of deliberation, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? All right, and Mrs. Moran, you have a motion to read.
I do, thank you. I make a motion on case number 25-108 for James M. LaValle, LLS, owner Cheryl Rivera, to grant a variance to the terms of Article 6, Section 165-46.C.1.a of the Town of Derry zoning ordinance to allow a lot line adjustment between the property and 4 Mark Ave, which will result in the property becoming more non-conforming with regard to the required lot area. Parcel ID 59011, zoned MDR, as presented with the following conditions. We have one, subject to obtaining all state and town permits and inspections, and that concludes the reading of the motion. I need a second.
I'll second.
Okay, that puts that motion on the floor. We have finding of fact there.
Finding a fact for case 25-108, the board found that the applicants are requesting a variance to allow a lot line adjustment between 14 Hilda Ave and 4 Mark Ave, which will result in 14 Hilda Ave becoming less conforming with respect to the lot area. Both parcels are located in the medium-density residential zoning district, which requires a minimum of 1 acre of lot area and 125 feet of frontage. Therefore, both lots are considered legal pre-existing non-conforming lots. And as such, the lot line adjustment will result in 14 Hilda Ave becoming more non-conforming by 992 square feet. The property will remain in a little over a half acre in size. The lot line adjustment will benefit the redevelopment of the property at 4 Mark Ave, which has previously received a variance from the board. If approved, planning board approval will be required, and the board also includes all facts found in the meeting minutes for this application and incorporates all meeting minutes into its finding of facts and decisions. Does anybody have any addendums or questions?
See no gestures there? All right. So we'll move this for a vote. All in favor of moving this motion for a vote, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Mr. Corbett?
Oh, yes.
Mrs. Moran? Mr. Tripp?
Yes.
Mr. Burgess?
I'm voting yes.
And the chair will remain with a yes as well. Makes a unanimous decision, so congratulations to Mr. Lavelle and Mr. Rivera. Anybody aggrieved by this has 30 days to ask this board for reconsideration. After that, recourse would be to Superior Court or the other authority. Okay?
Thank you, members of the
very
board.
much. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
why don't you let someone else sit on this?
Very good. Mr. Donlin, you want to sit for this one?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Next case up is case number 25-109, Stephen Factow. Owners are Stephen and Don Factow. Good evening.
Good evening.
You would be both folks all rolled into one?
Well, I am Dawn Facto,
Okay.
and you have to forgive my husband's absence. He is currently admitted in
Can you
Parkland
speak into the
Medical
microphone,
Center.
please?
Sorry. He's currently been admitted into Parkland Medical Center since Sunday morning. So he's unable to be here.
All right, sorry to hear.
Yes.
Is there any
Don't.
considerations that you would like this postponed, or you want to proceed?
Nope, we can go ahead and proceed. I'm gonna do the best that I can. I've never been in here before, and we'll do the best we can.
Okay, well, so we'll ask you to read your application. You have 5 criteria there, right? This is a variance. And then we'll barrage you with questions and see what happens from there, okay?
Okay.
All right, go ahead.
So you want me to read the actual application because I had written up just my own answers to the 5 questions.
So we ask that you read the application for the record, as that's our legal testimony, and then we'll give you an opportunity with questions to put this into your own words. So-
Or 4 questions, right?
Sure.
You get to elaborate.
I'm sorry?
Before questions, you get to elaborate after the 5.
You do get to
Yeah.
elaborate, yes. Yep.
Okay, so, the variance will not be contrary to the public interest because The new shed will not diminish neighboring property values and will enhance the neighborhood aesthetics. The spirit of the ordinance is observed because there will be no negative impacts to neighbors or community and/or the health, safety, or general welfare of the community. Substantial justice is done because no diminution of neighboring property values occurs while enhancing the overall aesthetic of the community. The values of surrounding properties are not diminished because our older shed will be replaced by a newer shed that will enhance overall aesthetics.
You okay?
And so then, number 5 is the enforcement of the provisions. It is not possible to place a new shed on the property due to required setbacks. Neighboring properties and our property have buildings / sheds within setback areas. Variances have been granted accordingly.
Mrs. Factow, before you continue, could you just repeat number 3 for me, please?
Yeah.
Thank you.
No diminution of neighboring property values occurs while enhancing the overall aesthetic of the community.
Thank you. I'm sorry to interrupt. Now you can go for 5, part 2.
Yeah, you need second page. One more page?
It is a reasonable request to replace our existing shed with a new, larger shed that does not negatively impact neighbors or community. Property is outlined by an existing 6-foot-tall stockade fence.
Okay? So now, excuse me, it's not you. It's all the people to the left and the right of me. Wish to be more colorful and your own description of what you want to do here?
Yep.
Okay.
Based on the condition of the existing shed, which is falling apart, the new shed will be a great improvement both to our property and surrounding neighborhood. I believe that the shed replacement, although larger, will add appeal to the overall surrounding community. Due to the location of wellhead, leach field house, and garage, it is not possible to meet the required setbacks. And many other properties in the immediate neighborhood have both sheds and structures on or near property lines. I believe that a new shed will be an asset to the community as a whole. The larger size will enable us to store yard equipment neatly enclosed rather than in the open under tarps, which I believe will enhance the overall aesthetic of the community. Not the tarps, but the, the enclosed part. And the current condition of the existing shed is poor, to say the least. We have seen rodents, i.e. mice, skunks, and a very large groundhog at various times call it home. The wood is starting to rot, causing holes in the floor, walls, and shingles are coming off the roof. And I just wanted to add as a note that I have personally spoken with all of my neighbors about the new shed, explaining the size to them and the reasoning. And everyone seems to be in agreement that it is a fine thing.
Just out of curiosity, why 3 feet off the boundary versus 4 or 5? Is it that tight to your well and septic?
It is. So we are currently having a new fence installed.
Okay.
And so the new fence may actually go back a little bit, but I went out today
Go back.
towards the property line a little closer. So I went out today and actually measured. And so the existing shed at the closest point is approximately 2 feet off the property line. At the furthest point, it's 8 feet approximately off the property line. And my measurement was taken from the property line to the fence, to the shed, not the fence to the shed.
So, yeah, this thing shows that you measured this thing from the fence, correct? I've got a little diagram here, just where I'm at.
Yes, so my husband had done the diagram when we filed for the initial,
Well, what I'm trying to get at is you're 2 feet from the fence, and and your property line is further over. Is that correct? On both sides?
It is correct. So when we moved into the property, we purchased the property in 2022, and the shed was existing. I've since had the property surveyed, and the survey shows that the property line is actually a little further back than where the pin was. So whether the pin was moved at some point, I have no idea. But the survey that we had, which is registered, was registered with the town, shows the property line a little further back than what we had initially thought behind the fence.
And is it on the side also?
On the side, the property line runs almost right down the fence line.
Okay. All right, but see what you, okay, so previously it was 2 feet, so now you're making it less conforming, I think, that's the word I'm
Now it's
looking
going
for.
from 2 to 3, so more conforming, but still.
More conforming, yeah, that's the word I'm looking for, I'm sorry, I get them confused sometimes, by putting out 3 feet. But why do you have it on an angle like that? Why don't you just put it corner, put it on the side in one way or another?
Well, because to meet the 15-foot setback, by putting it along and pulling it forward and over 15 feet to make the setback on either side of the fence, puts it way too close to the wellhead.
Okay. Reasonable, all right, but it's going to be better the way it is. It's going to be, you're giving us more room against the fence, which is a good thing in most cases.
That's what I had thought, that because of the length of it, the positioning actually pulls it a little further out.
It's more conforming the way you're doing it than it was. All righty, thank you.
Okay. Anybody else?
I got a question.
Mr. Dragani?
Whereabouts is the wellhead?
So the wellhead.
If you're looking at your diagram, I guess.
Yes. So the GIS map that we had included in the packet, if I can find it, here somewhere.
It does show on the survey.
Yeah.
Okay. Yep.
Yeah, so I need to get my bearings with the survey. So that's the dwelling. So we're going this way. So when we moved in,
Way down here.
sorry?
It's, okay.
When we moved in, the wellhead was directly behind the existing garage. Our well went dry, so we had to have a new well installed, which it was installed a little further out, and it shows that on the survey there.
Good, Mr. Dragani?
Yes, that answered my question.
Okay, anything else? Mr. Donlin?
Mr. Chair, I don't have any questions.
Okay, Mr. Tripp?
Nope, looks pretty simple to me.
Mrs. Moore? All right. Mr. Corbett, you all set
I
as
just
well?
have one specifically reference to the shed. Is it any taller than the one that's currently existing?
So I do not have measurement of the current existing shed height, but the proposed shed, which I'm remiss that I did not include a picture of the proposed shed, is, and I get my papers mixed up. I believe it's 10 foot 6 inches.
Okay, that looks about what this one is, because you said you have a 6-foot fence currently.
6-foot fence, yeah, and the fence in the picture is actually like leaning forward. We've
that,
done
yeah.
all we can to prop it up and make it safe, but it is leaning, so it may be a little off there. But yes, so the proposed shed is 10 foot 6 inches.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Mackey, care to give us any input here?
Parcel's located in Colette's Grove. If you're familiar, that's out by Big Island Pond. Lots of small, non-conforming lots, non-conforming structures, all of that. I believe the applicants had applied for a permit through my office, and when I took a look at it, it said, well, unfortunately, even though it's a replacement, it's bigger and still encroaches into that 15-foot setback, so here we are.
Here we are. Okay, good enough. Well, I'm happy to hear that they came in for a permit and asked anyway, so that's good. If anybody else have any questions, we all set? All right, so let's go to public. Just hang on, Ms. Facto, and we're going to see if there's anybody that is running opposition or would like to support you here, okay? So we have the phone numbers being posted here. Anybody wish to speak in favor of this application, this would be your opportunity to come forward, and that would apply to anyone remotely. Mr. Corbett?
Yep, if you wish to dial in, you're going to dial 646-558-8656. Your meeting ID is 323-909-140. And if you're already in, you're just going to press *9 to raise your hand. If you're having any technical issues, please dial 845-5585 and someone will help you.
Very good, thank you, Mr. Corbett. And seeing no one rise in the room, anybody out there, Mr. Preventure?
Seeing none rise, Mr.
All right,
Chair.
so in that case, let's call for anybody who might be in opposition of this nice shed, and see if they if they care to object to it, and we'll get you into the meeting if you're remote. I see no one rise here, and for this call, and Mr. Preventure, anybody there?
Seeing none rise.
All right, then we'll presume we've satisfied the statute for public input, and we'll bring it right back to the applicant. Anything, last things you'd like to say to us?
So all I would like to add to that, as stated, the area is very congested, small lots, and there are quite a few buildings, homes, sheds that are that do not meet the setbacks. There are some that are like right along the road or right along the property lines.
Okay. All right, well, we're happy that you came in and you pulled a permit and you're here with us tonight, and let's proceed.
Make a motion to go into deliberative?
Yes, please, thank you,
I'll second
Mr. Corbett, and Mr. Burgess makes a second. All in favor of going into deliberation, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, who would like to start off?
Oh, in the words of Mr. Burgess, it's a shed.
Yep.
It's encompassed by a fence. It is becoming, it's still non-conforming. It's becoming more conforming, in my opinion. The other shed clearly needs to go, just from this photo. I really have no issues with it. I don't think it's going to make much of a difference anywhere else outside of the yard.
Very good, thank you, Mr. Corbett. Nice narrative. Mr. Tripp?
I have nothing to say.
Okay, Mrs. Moran?
I do agree with what Mr. Corbett said. At the end of the day, there's going to be a non-conforming shed there regardless. So I like the improvement that is being offered.
All righty, Mr. Burgess? You're all set?
Not on the case.
Oh, that's right, you are. I'm sorry, Mr. Donlin.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I agree with all the commentary so far, and you don't really have to look very far to find a non-conforming shed in that neck of the woods. And I also appreciate the applicants going through the correct channels with the
Very good.
applications and all that.
And thank you, and sorry I forgot that you were sitting on this. All right. Will you structure the motion?
We've got obtaining all state and town permits,
And inspections?
and building permit being required. I have nothing to add to it.
Okay. Everybody else happy with that one condition on this motion?
It looks good.
Okay, good enough. So that being the case, we can come out of deliberation.
Make that motion.
Second.
Mr. Corbett, and second by Mr. Donlin. All in favor of exiting deliberation, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Before we do, I got a procedure question. Now I think of it. Burgess seconded going into deliberation.
That's right, he did.
Yes, I did.
That's why I'm confused. It's Burgess's fault.
If, Craig, if you motion to go in, I can second it, and then we can leave.
I'll motion the correct intro into deliberation.
Very good.
And I will second it.
Thank you.
Even now, a motion to come out of deliberation, seconded by, I believe, Mr. Donlin.
Second.
Very good. Thank you for straightening that out. Point of order, and all in favor of coming out of deliberation, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none. All right, Mrs. Moran, you have a motion to read.
I do, thank you. I make a motion on case number 25-109 for Stephen Facto to grant a variance to the terms of Article 6, Section 165-48.b.4 of the Town of Derry zoning ordinance to allow the replacement of an 8-foot by 8-foot shed with a 12-foot by 16-foot shed, which will be located less than 15 feet from the side and rear property lines. Parcel ID 19040, zoned LDR, as presented with the following conditions. We have one, subject to obtaining all state and town permits and inspections, and that concludes the reading of the motion. I need a second.
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Donlin. That puts that motion on the floor. Mr. Corbett, you got the finding of fact?
Finding a fact for case 25-109, the board found that the applicants are requesting a variance to allow the replacement of an existing 8-foot by 8-foot shed with a new 12-foot by 16-foot shed. The existing shed currently encroaches on the 15-foot side and rear setbacks, and the proposed new larger shed will be constructed in roughly the same location, thus remaining non-conforming. The property is located in Collett's Grove, which contains many small lots and non-conforming structures. If the variance is approved, the building permit will be required. And the board also includes all facts found in the meeting minutes for this application and incorporates all meeting minutes into its finding of facts and decisions. Does anybody have any additions or addendums to make?
No gestures there. You all set, Mr. Donlin?
I'm good. Thank you,
Okay,
sir.
very good, thank you. That motion on the floor, all in favor of moving it for a vote, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Mr. Donlin?
Yes.
Mr. Tripp?
Yes.
Mrs. Moran?
Yes.
Mr. Corbett?
Yes.
Mr. Perkins says yes as well, so that's a 5-0 vote, so congratulations, you're approved. Anybody aggrieved by this has 30 days to ask for a rehearing, otherwise recourse will be to Superior Court. So I suspect you should be fine, but we read that to you in the event that you don't want to set your shed tomorrow, okay? Congratulations to you and your husband, and I hope he gets better.
Yeah, hopefully speedy recovery.
Thank you very much.
Get well soon.
Thank you very much.
Have a good evening.
You also.
All right, next case up is Jessica Bethune, and that is case number 25-110.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
one more time.
You want it one more time?
Yeah, let him go.
Okay, very good. Mr. Dietzel, you want to step up for this? All right, very good, thank you. Good evening, folks.
Hello.
How are you?
Very well. Thanks for having me. I'm Jessica Bethune, 2 Arrowhead Road, and this is my husband, Justin.
Okay. Well, you saw the prior two cases? Saw the prior two cases?
I have prior two cases?
No,
Did you see the prior two cases?
Oh, I did.
Yes, and so you know our protocol, which is to read your application in its
Yes.
entirety, and then we'll barrage you with questions, so on and so forth.
All right, sounds great.
Okay, thank
Do you
you.
need my letter of explanation or just the 5 questions?
You can get into the 5 questions, and then we
Okay.
might cover that letter with an explanation in layman's terms. How's
All right,
that?
sounds great.
Okay,
Number 1, the variance will not be contrary to the public interest because it will create a safe space for longtime Derry residents to continue to shop and use the services of local businesses. Our property taxes will be increased, which will help contribute to supporting school funds, police, fire department, libraries, water and sewer departments, and other municipal services. Number 2, the spirit of the ordinance is observed because an ADU for my aging parents on our property will provide a healthy and safe environment for them to live somewhat independently under the watchful eyes of family. 3, substantial justice is done by ensuring longtime residents of our community, referring to my parents, have a safe and affordable housing option. Number 4, the values of surrounding properties are not diminished because our proposed ADU has a very small footprint of 633 square feet and will be behind our existing house on our lot. The ADU will be of similar style and matching in color of our existing home. It will be placed in our backyard and will not be easily visible from our street. Number 5, literal enforcement of the provisions of the ordinance would result in an unnecessary hardship. Our home meets all of the ordinances with the exception of being connected by your doorway. After much research, we established that the construction costs and lack of placement options for some type of attached entryway would be financially prohibitive and visually deter from the functionality and curb appeal of our current property.
okay, is that it?
Yeah.
All right, well, why don't you go ahead and explain in your own words what you'd like to do?
Well, we'd like to, so we live on 2 Arrowhead. It's a little more than half an acre, I think 0.57, I would say. And my parents are getting old. They've lived in town for 30 years. My mom has some dementia, and they're getting older. They're pushing 80. And so we're trying to find a safe option for them. So our proposed ADU would be right on our property. As you can see there, that has the floor plan. Proposed floor plan. It's a single bedroom. The home is actually built off-site, so it's not a modular motor home. It's just a prefab unit with standard construction specs, which I have a copy of here. And what would happen if we get the variance, the next step would be I would reach out to our septic guy, Keith Garside, which I spoke to him, and we would have a pit test done, and we would have his engineer come up with a septic plan for us. For my understanding is that if our current septic were to fail with the addition of the ADU, we would have to show that we have plans that we could accommodate a bigger septic system. So Mr. Garside also told me that that would kind of be the determining factor of exactly where the unit would be set based on the septic plan for the hookups and stuff like that. But in general, there is a diagram in the packet that kind of shows where we suspect it will be, which is right behind the house, our existing house. If we get the variance and the approval from the state for the sewer, or the septic, I should say, the next step for us would be to actually buy the unit. I haven't signed anything yet, because I want to make sure we can do it before I commit to paying for it. And then we would get approved plans, and we would go ahead and get a foundation, a crawl space foundation was recommended to us instead of a slab. And then 10 or 12 weeks later, the company that builds the house would come with it on a crane and just bring it and put it on the foundation and drop it down. And then from there, I did speak to Eversource. They could run the electric from our existing box in our garage to the ADU. And then I also spoke to a gentleman from the water department who said we could either run it from the street or run it from where it comes into our house, where the street comes to our house now, and run it out to the ADU. And then I did talk to Palmer about getting a propane tank for them to have propane stove and stuff like that. So that's in general our plan. None of our neighbors showed up, but I did text and we chatted with them in the yard and stuff, and they were all like, "Oh, that's a great idea. That's nice." And so it would be for my parents until, hopefully I'm hoping they never die, but, if something were to happen to them, we do have two teenage boys, and we're like, oh, if something happens to my parents and we still have that property down the road, maybe when they're done college and they have a young family or they're starting out, they could stay in there. Or, years from now, maybe we give the big house to our boys or something like that, and we move into the unit. So every intention of, keeping it, family in it for sure. Yep. There are a couple diagrams you guys can see what our house now looks like on 2 Arrowhead. In the measurements of the ADU, it's the same length as our house. So I think if we could set it exactly behind the house, you won't even see it unless you're, really peering into the backyard. And then there's a bigger diagram of just the house on our lot and how it sits and where we are kind of assuming or expecting the ADU would go. I did kind of measure it out so you could see the proportions of the ADU compared to our existing house. And they would, if this gets approved and I move forward with the project, they would, I could pick the siding, I could pick the roofing, so it would look, just like our house. It would just look like a mini house behind ours, so it would aesthetically, match everything.
So it's 46 by almost 14 foot wide, correct?
Yes, that sounds correct, yeah.
And your house is 46 as well.
Right.
Where's your septic system currently?
Right now, if you're looking at if you're standing in the street looking at our lot, it's in the back right corner. That's where our leach field is.
Mm-hmm. And you think this is an adequate location to avoid running into that septic?
I certainly hope so, but I mean, that's what the engineer will let us know when he comes out. If the state doesn't approve it, it obviously won't happen, but we're thinking there's enough room. When we go out there and eyeball it and walk around it, it seems like it should, have enough space.
So I didn't drive to this one. Did you, Mr. Burgess?
It's hard to see what's back there from the road.
Where was Arrowhead Road? Whereabouts?
We're off the bypass, so we're kind of in between Barca and Pinkerton.
I see, okay.
Yeah, Old Coach. Off Old
Yeah,
Coach
Old
Estates,
Coach.
yeah.
Is directly,
Any raised septic systems in that neighborhood, Mr. Mackey?
Not sure about that one.
Yeah, okay. All right. Anybody have any questions?
I do.
Mr. Tripp?
So, are you making any accommodations for parking?
We could fit 6 in our driveway now. We use it like 4, you know what I mean? That you could put 4 cars easily. If we kind of, we could fit 6 if we were parked tight to each other. But we do have plenty of flat, like our lot's pretty flat, so we could add another parking spot if that was something that the town wanted us to do. We have room to do that.
And you're gonna have you have some sort of plan for accessing the ADU in the rear?
Yeah, we were talking about that. We're thinking maybe either on the right side of the house if you're at the street, or maybe through the garage. So my parents, we could open the garage door, they could go straight through the garage, and we could make a path, do some hardscaping.
The garage is attached?
Our current garage is attached, yeah.
Well, if sometime in the future when you want to rent this out, you might want to consider, making the access a little more independent. And you already talked, you have city water,
We have city water, yeah.
and you're aware that you need to get your current septic sized for the additional load.
Yes, exactly. So my understanding, he'll come out and assess what we have now, they'll do a pit test to make sure our leach field is good. And then he'll make like a contingency plan that if, with the addition of the ADU, it caused our existing system to fail, that we have enough space to, be able to fit a bigger tank or a bigger leach field or something. So that would be what the engineer would propose to the state. And if the state approves it, then we would go forward with ordering the unit and, getting the ball rolling.
That's all I have.
I actually have a question, if I may.
Yes, sir, Mr. Dragani.
So, your house picture shows you have the garage on the right-hand side, and you're saying they'd go through that to the ADU. What was the variance why you couldn't add the ADU to your property?
Well, right outside the back door of the garage, the septic tank isn't too far off. I don't know, I'm not good at how many feet.
Where the septic leaves our house is right off the back of the garage, and then the septic field is kind of like straight back and to the right from there.
Yeah. So, I mean, we're not really sure. It would depend on where they put it, but he and I were talking like, oh, maybe we could do some hardscaping out of the back of the garage. So as my parents continue to lose mobility, that have, they could walk on the grass for now, but, we could put something a little more permanent there for, make sure they're safe.
And would you say how far off the septic is from the back?
It's the back right corner of the lot, so our
Yeah,
house
the
sits
leach
kind of
field?
middle to the front.
Yeah, the
The
leach
field's
field's in
the far back, but the tank you said was,
The tank is probably
maybe
8
from
to
here
10
to the
feet
wall. I don't know.
off the back.
okay,
Yeah.
gotcha.
I think it's a little further, yeah.
When's the last time the septic was replaced? Is it the original?
I don't know. Is it?
I don't know if it's the original. We do have the septic plan from when we bought the home. I do think it's an older tank, for sure.
Yeah, we bought the house in 2018.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I realize you've arranged a lot of the components here, which, kind of go outside of the board's purview, but I think some of the questions that you're starting to hear, if you're 8 to 10 feet off the back of your house, you probably have a 12-foot tank. You're starting to lead yourself back towards where this ADU is going to be positioned. My sense is in having, experiences with this myself, and any of the other board members can chime in, is that you're possibly going to be looking at so much, because you're only on a half-acre lot, correct? You're going to be looking at so much destruction to this. I think in the end, you're going to find yourself having to do quite a bit of yard rearranging in order just to make this ADU fit. That's my sense. It's not a guarantee. But again, having experiences with this sort of thing myself, that's my feel to where you're heading. Essentially, your ADU may fit for you philosophically, but I think, based on the area of your lot, but I don't know that it's physically going to be able to fit, especially if you're looking at that increased septic design. Mr. Corbett?
I had a little, the tightness gave me a little bit of concern, but to me, not enough that I would say that I'm against pursuing it. I think the way I look at this with the approval would almost be to let them take the next step forward, start to get more of those plans developed with an engineer to see if it would work. So I don't necessarily have, maybe we need to structure a motion in a certain way with that, but that doesn't concern me as much, the actual practicability of it, because I think we're almost green-lighting the due diligence for that. Outside, and it tugs on the heartstrings. It's a nice I don't want to
Feel.
use the word, wrong. It's a nice sell, on why they want to do this for the elderly parents, keeping the kids in the house, kind of long-term or on the property. I think all that's very sweet.
Right.
I think the tightness of it also helps, Mr. Tripp's comment of the future rental. I think that it may be tight enough that it also discourages that type of use. So, also gives me a little bit of,
Consternation.
to feel a little bit better about trying to let them move forward with it. Outside of all that, I have a couple of questions about the house and the ADU in general that I'm just curious with. It has nothing to do with my review.
Yeah, sure.
And I assume you did the research, why I'm happy asking, not to Google myself. How is this different than like a mod? Is it, the layout looks similar. And I'm just thinking, I had these on my college campus, so it just pops into my head when I think back of them. It's similar layout, but I see it's right on the ground, whereas typically the mod is raised. Is that almost the only difference?
Well, yeah, it's not from doing all my research. It's not like a trailer or like a mobile home. Do you know what I mean? That you'd see in a park or something. It's an actual like stick built to like if we were going to put an addition on or build a freestanding home. So the convenience of it, it's cheaper than doing that because they do it in a controlled environment. So they do it in like an airplane hangar or something. So when they bring it, it will have shingles on it. It'll have, which is one of the things I like about it too, because I'm like, it's going to be less disruptive to our neighbors. If we just could do the foundation, they come bring it on the crane and put it down. But will be like a standard little quartz countertops, oak cabinets. It'll have therma-true doors and the right wood and wraps and all that kind of stuff. So it's like an actual, the company that makes them could make 3-story houses or vacation homes, but we're getting what they call it a pod. So that's like one unit. So I did have the option if we had more property or wanted something bigger, you could get something made from the same company with 3 pods. So you could have 2 stories and a pod in the back, or you know what I mean? So looking at it from the outside, it's going to look just like a plain ranch. Just like that. But it's going to be on a proper crawl space foundation. We could do a full foundation, the guy said, but we don't have a need for that, and it's much more expensive. So we'd just do a crawl space and have them plop it on there.
That was the second part of my question. Thank you for that. Just curious. It's a cool concept. Just curious on that.
I have a question for Mr. Mackey or maybe Mr. Tripp. Do you know the status of House Bill 577 by chance? Because all my research shows it's just still in committee.
Yeah, I think that would still be in committee, working its way through, I think, the Senate at this point. So, and the bill that I'm assuming that she's talking about, there is a bill amongst many bills dealing with housing that are out there right now in front of the legislature. I think this particular one would mandate that towns have to allow ADUs to be detached. And there probably is a likelihood that may become law, but again, it hasn't passed anything as of yet officially, so.
Well, as I recall from some of the other stuff we've done in the past, they did change the law to allow for ADUs to be detached if the town allows it.
If the town allows it, correct. Currently, Derry's laws say it has to be attached.
Right, but they can get a variance to have it detached.
We
'cause
can
we've done
ask
it
for a
twice
variance, yes.
That I know of.
Anybody else on the board have questions?
I just,
Mr. Dietzel?
Yep, you're good. All right.
my light keeps blinking, so.
Oh, that's that light.
I'm having a little trouble understanding. They're going to gain access to this ADU through the existing garage, and there's a door out back. There's like no direct path outside the home, or?
Well, not as of yet, because we were kind of waiting to see if we'd get the variance, and then really it's going to be the septic engineer based on, he's really going to be the one to make the call as to where it needs to be to be in the right place for our septic system. So just from us going out in the yard and looking around, it seems like it would be, the right space for it would be like right behind our existing house. So my parents could park in our driveway, and then they could either walk up on the grass to it, or we're thinking they could cut through the garage and we could just make a path from like the back door of our garage to the front door of their ADU.
There it is.
And
Street level.
there's enough space on the side of the existing house for a fire engine to get back there?
I would say so. I mean, if you drive by, the lot's like really flat, and then the septic's on the back right, but this whole left side is open. Actually, the people that lived there before just parked their boat and their camper there and stuff. It's like super flat.
Yeah, I saw that, okay. That's all I have, Mr. Chair, thanks.
Mr. Burgess, you all set?
Yeah, well, there's one thing, and now this is a suggestion more than a question, if they don't mind. I would suggest you put some sort of a walkway, cement or whatever, gravel, hot top, whatever you feel like, from that ADU around the outside, just in case.
Yes.
You know, because you need, if it's on the grass or it's on the ground or it's on sand, it's very difficult to shovel.
Yes.
I've
that
had
is
houses
true.
like that before, so, yeah.
Mr.
But other than
Corby,
that,
you all set?
I think it's, everything looks fine.
That was my only question, how far it gone.
Same question I have.
Mr. Tripp, you all set?
Well, I'm just wondering, the nice thing about dropping that in there is later on, if you decide you want to sell it, you can just have somebody come pick it up and.
That's true, we probably could.
That had occurred to us.
What? It had occurred?
To him, yeah.
Once you don't want it, take it away, give it to someone.
Mr. Donlin, you all set?
I do have a question probably for Mr. Mackey. To be clear, what I believe that they'll be voting on is the ability to put in a detached ADU within the setbacks of whatever this lot is zoning-wise, right? Not specifically in this one spot, to the chair's point about the very high likelihood that this isn't going right where it is?
Correct. So right now, all they're asking for is the variance to allow it to be a detached ADU. I suppose if down the road, when the septic design comes back and so forth, they realize that they have to locate it and encroach into a setback, then they would have to find themselves back before the board seeking relief from whatever setback that they can't meet,
Sure, so it can move within the setbacks of the lot
as
as,
long as it meets the
right, okay,
setback requirements. Yeah.
thank you.
Mr. Dragani?
I think everyone answered my question.
Okay. I have my own thoughts at this point, but I don't have them in questions, and nor do I think that they're pertinent at this time. But Mr. Mackey, if you'd like to fill out any loose ends relative to your,
Yeah, I
what
mean,
would be your staff report.
I think it's pretty much been covered. The only thing that I would just clarify is, again, as it's been explained to me, that this is not a manufactured or mobile home as we think about it, that comes in on a metal chassis and is typically fastened down to a slab. And the key being, a manufactured home has to meet the HUD requirements for building. Whereas a modular, which is built in a factory but complies with the state building code, that's more of what this is. So once it's brought in and it gets bolted down to a standard foundation and so forth, if it's multi-pieces, they get bolted together and so forth. And once all's said and done, unless you have some building experience, like Mr. Perkins, you probably wouldn't even know that it wasn't site-built. So that's what the intention is here, has been explained to me, so.
Correct.
Because a manufactured home wouldn't be allowed without another variance.
All right, thank you, Mr. Mackey. All right, at this point, we're going to go through the protocol of asking for public input, okay? You folks stay right there because there's no one else in the room. And anything that's said, you have an opportunity to rebut. So that being said, Mr. Provencher will post those phone numbers and make a call to anyone in public who wishes to speak in favor of this application. And likewise, anyone who would like to speak in opposition to this application, and this would apply to anybody remote because there's no one else left here in the room. Mr. Corby, you have the phone numbers?
Yep, those of you who are remote, just press star 9 to raise your hand. Anyone who wishes to dial in, you're going to dial 646-558-8656. Your meeting ID is 323-909-140. If you're having any technical issues, you're going to dial 603-845-5585. Someone will be happy to help you.
All right, very good. Thank you, Mr. Corbett. Anybody there, Mr. Provencher?
Seeing none, rise, Mr. Chair.
All right, good enough. So we'll presume that we've met that statute and for public input. And if there's nothing else from the board, if you found yourself in a situation where you could not, your leach field, your septic system to accommodate all of this, rendered this detached ADU impossible, would you revert back to the attached if they could rearrange the septic in such a way?
I don't know what we would do. I mean, originally we were like, oh, where could we put them? Could we convert the garage? Could we do, so just the way the house is set, we don't know where we could build out from our house to add a whole unit for them. And plus, honestly, I don't know if I want them that close. But, I mean, I don't know. I do have, some other siblings, so we just have to figure out what to do with them. They're getting old, and they're too old to manage the house they're in by themselves, so would have to figure that out.
Okay. All right, with that, I'll take a motion to go into deliberation.
So moved.
Thank you, Mr. Tripp. Could I have a second, please?
I'll second it.
Mrs. Moran has a second. All in favor of deliberation, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, who would like to start this discussion? Mr. Tripp?
In my mind, this is something that is possible, but it requires a little more fact-finding. And if they were given the variance to have a separate detached ADU, that would allow them to go forward, so it's one of those things that they'll find out whether it's possible or not. If it's not possible, we'll probably see them again.
Mr. Corbett?
I thought Mr. Donlin brought up a good point. It was one of the items that I was kind of kicking around in my head, which is that right now it doesn't require any of the setbacks. So knowing that it may need to move, but that the approval would, it basically keeps it within the setbacks, that it keeps control there is good. A different fear I had is if we approved it and ended up not working, what happens years down the road when someone tries to finagle it in, but then I remembered it would expire if it doesn't get built within a period of time following our approval. So to me, while it's unique, again, kind of the points I said, it's a smaller lot, which normally I wouldn't love, but I think that it fits the spirit of what they're telling us they're doing. So that helps me. And not to jump too far ahead, but as I think of the 577 and kind of the effects it seems that it's having on the other states too, I think the fact that this meets wouldn't require any other type of variance makes me a little bit more lenient with it as well. So I don't know if it would need to be structured any tighter, but to me, I think our approval is what's needed to see if this can be done. And so I'm supportive of that.
Okay, Mr. Dietzel?
All right, I'm trying. Didn't work either. Okay, I guess this one's better. The size of this structure makes it a little more palatable than some of these other ones that I've seen. I generally am opposed to the detached ADU because it is in essence creating two single-family dwellings on one piece of land, and that is certainly contrary to the spirit of the ordinance. I understand that 577 is in the works, and it may or may not pass, but it hasn't passed yet, and so I'm not going to consider that. If it changes in a month or so, then so be it. I'm not a big fan of the fact that it doesn't have its own entryway, either via vehicle or with a walking path. It seems like it's kind of secluded back there. But on the other hand, because it is rather small, I think it could be, I think it could fit onto that piece of property in the back. I have reservations.
Could I add a comment?
You certainly may.
No,
No,
not
you
deliberation.
Oh, no, wait a minute, not deliberation, but other folks on the board, if they have comments, I'd really like to hear them.
Mrs. Moran, anything from you?
Yeah, I disagree. I feel not having the walkability and whatnot there keeps it more controlled, because then you know who's going there. You're not gonna put 100 people in a one bedroom if they have to walk through your garage to get there. So I like that that controls the situation a little bit better.
So you like the fact that they would have to go through the garage?
That's the, like, the whole point of the ADU is to be like a family, not to make it
The minor inconvenience would,
right.
trying to think the right word, I don't know why, but impede someone who's not part of the family from moving in, almost. I can see that.
Okay, thank you. That's all, Mr. Chair.
So my feeling is, I get uncomfortable with the idea even that the legislature is considering doing a detached ADUs. I realize they're wrestling with trying to create more housing opportunities, but I don't like the detached ADU aspect, and I'm not looking to jump forward on that in speculation of maybe the legislature will follow our vote or my decision on this. Because the detached ADUs essentially are putting two residences on one parcel, and that just doesn't set well with me overall. However, if the legislature, the governor, were to sign it into law, well, then I'm not going to stand in its way. But my concern here is that there's relief being sought for before all the information has been brought forward for the need of the detached ADU. It's an option that's being looked at before all the due diligence is done. And due diligence on any real estate investment is typically to at least have that expenditure to understand the most significant part, which is the septic design and septic approval. And if your septic is dated, or I don't know how old this house is, it's eventually going to need to be replaced. And I think giving approval based on not knowing what the septic criteria would be for this parcel is premature. At the same time, I'm not looking to deny this because I understand the hardship that is being expressed, though it's not a geographic hardship to the property, although maybe it is if they were to unearth something underground that prohibits this from being developed. That's certainly a geographic hardship. But I am reserved at giving a premature approval to a detached ADU at this time. But I'm certainly open the door to waiting for the rest of that engineering to be proposed, that somebody says, this is what we have to do to accommodate this. Maybe I could be swayed, but I'm not willing to shut the door on this either. I think that there are considerations that could be made that could perhaps make this attached in the spirit that's intended for right now as the legislature and our ordinances have prescribed. But I also, again, am willing to leave the door open on this. I'm willing to table this until we get such engineering that says this is what we have to do in order to accommodate our wishes. That creates something more significant to me to say, okay, this is the hardship. But right now, without that engineering, I'm not seeing the hardship, and I don't want to jump ahead and give this approval, even though the intentions are understood and admirable. and I can appreciate them. So that's where I stand on this matter. I think I'm hearing some kind of mix from some of the voting voices on this that may align with that, but to that point, I digress.
Could we just add a condition that says that the septic plan has to be complete before the variance is permitted?
Well, that's normal anyway. I think when we give approval, it always hinges on if the septic doesn't need to be replaced at this time, certainly needs to have a septic design that shows if a failure of the current system occurs, they will be able to replace that system. So either way, they have to do the septic test before they can move forward with this.
And I'm pretty sure that before people are allowed to build an ADU, they have to prove that the existing septic has the capacity, and if it doesn't, then they have to have a plan that will have the capacity for the additional load.
Yep.
You know, so that's already in the law and the ordinances.
Mm-hmm.
So I understand the order of operations
Mm-hmm.
concern. I guess where I vary with it is, if we didn't move forward today, how could the results, regardless of what they are, come back and harm what we voted? Because if we voted yes, but the results come back and now we need variances for setbacks, or it no longer fits within the property, it can't move forward, and then the variance expires. But if it can work, they're just able to move forward. So while I respect the order of operations, that, I guess I just don't understand why we'd have to follow it, to the letter of the law, but I also don't dismiss it.
Yeah, if I'm following you, we all have these varying levels of acceptance or denial, something that doesn't quite fit, right? And this overall doesn't quite fit for me, though I admire what's occurring here. And I'm not willing to say no, but I'd rather have something that says, because what the testimony I'm hearing is, we don't know how we would want it to fit or how it could fit to our existing home to follow the ordinances.
Understood.
And we just as soon have it detached and have you give us an approval and we'll go get the septic. And I'd rather have you say, this is the septic design engineering, this in no way could attach to our existing structure, so therefore, we're looking for variance.
But
Right.
we still prefer this.
So
Okay.
to exhaust every
Yep,
option before you take the last one.
I understand that.
And
I can
Appreciate.
more, yes.
And I'm comfortable with doing that as well, because we do see them. If this was above a garage that was detached, I don't know, if people would say yes or no. So I'm trying to remind myself it's on
Yeah.
that idea, but I would love to see what they try to do within the ordinance we already have.
And so again, I'm not willing to, one of the things that we know is that if we vote no on something and we say, come back to us if it, I'd be willing to consider it another time. That's essentially 2 bites of the apple. So I'm not willing to say no at this point. I am willing to table this until we see other engineering and design. And I don't need to have that to be a date certain, so if it takes 2 months, then the door's open. But to vote the way I feel could close the door on you altogether, and I'm not willing to do that to you either. Okay? That's my position. Each voting board member has their own position, but that's the way I would be willing to go on this. If the board votes to pursue this in a vote now, I think you know where I stand on it. And so we can move forward with that if you'd like. Anybody else have any commentary on this? All right, hearing no. Let's look at the motion. Currently, we don't have to structure one solidly, but we do have the subject to obtaining all state, town permits and inspections if this were to go forward. I guess before we leave here, does anybody, I know I'm going to get into a complicated point here, but before we go out of deliberation, does anybody want to consider tabling this to an indefinite time?
I would like to table it to an indefinite time, and I wouldn't want to touch the motion as it is,
Okay.
seeing what they come back with. So
Thank you.
I would support tabling it also.
Okay. Mr. Corbett?
Yeah, I respect the concerns that you raised, kind of just wanted to see everything vetted prior. So rather than, rush to a potential negative,
Okay,
I think that this could be beneficial to table it for the time being.
okay. Mr. Diesel?
I'm ready to vote now. I'm against tabling.
Okay. All right, very good. You have any motions you wish to put on, any conditions you wish to put on the motion? Okay.
No, thank you.
All right, very good. That being said, all in favor of coming out of deliberation, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none. So we have 4 expressions one way and 1 in another, but we would need a motion to table this indefinitely in order to pursue that venture.
Chair, I make that motion on case number 25-110 to table it indefinitely.
Very good.
And that concludes the reading of the motion.
All right, very good. We have a second, please.
I'll second that.
Mr. Tripp has that second. All in favor of Mrs. Moran's motion, say aye.
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 Yeah, sorry.
You're 2? All right. There's 4 ayes. Anybody opposed?
No.
Okay, very good. 4 to 1. Folks, we'll table this indefinitely. You have your engineering and whatnot to look at, and when you have a more sound direction on this, you'll notify the building department. It may mean renoticing, depending on how long it takes you to get this information, but for now, the door is open for you, and you can come back and revisit this, okay?
Okay, just so I know what to do, so I get the pit test and the septic plan, the engineer, if I get it approved by the state, I bring that approval back here for you guys to reconsider.
I think your engineers are gonna look at a bunch of different things here based on your lot area, your setbacks and whatnot, and they're probably going to be able to narrow down for you what your options are, and then you can proceed accordingly. And I don't even know that you need to get the state approval on the septic, but the concept needs to be relayed to the board to review.
Okay, great, because there is a cost to that, about $2,500, so.
To do your design?
Yeah, for the pit test, and then about $1,800 for the design and the, whatever
understand.
the state charges.
Well, you'll have
yeah.
more absolutes as to what direction you can go,
Yeah.
and this process is a minimal cost comparative. Okay?
Okay,
Very good. Thank you, folks.
thank you.
Have a good evening. We have approval of minutes. Have anybody reviewed the 2/20/25 minutes, or would they like to reserve that in draft until you see the video for one of the cases for rehearing?
At this point, I think we should leave it in draft as we're all re-reviewing.
Very good.
I'll second that.
Okay, that's a motion, Mr. Corbett?
Yes.
It is. Mrs. Moran has a second. All in favor of leaving the approval of minutes in draft, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none. Approval of minutes for March 6, 2025. Are there any amendments or changes there, or do we leave that, table that as well?
I motion to accept that as presented.
Okay, everybody else with that? Fine? Okay, could I have a second on that? Mr. Corbett's motion?
I'll second that.
Very good. Mrs. Moran seconds the motion for the minutes, March 6th, as presented. Everybody in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none. All right. And I think our next meeting is May 1st. Can you believe we're approaching May 1st?
We have 2 cases, well, now 2 cases and a rehearing.
Okay, very good.
Maybe,
Okay.
Okay, Mr. Chairman,
Ms. Moran, you want to say
No.
something? Mr. Burgess?
one more thing. I hope that everybody will watch this, because like I said, I wasn't here, so everybody take a look at it in case something happens and one of the original members is not here. and
Okay, very
Someone can
good.
take their place.
You hinting?
What? Oh, no, I'm just saying, you can pick whoever you want.
You've been here so long, you'd be one of the original Beatles.
Keep best over here.
Other than that, we have no other business. Anybody have any other business?
Do we have any correspondence?
God, we do. We have the Town and Country magazine.
And I
Richard
think,
wants it.
yeah, he's up. It's
jumping
his
on it.
turn.
We have the Town and Country magazine, and I think that code enforcement and our clerk have been good enough to inform us of the
I'm allergic.
New Hampshire Office of Planning and Development, the registration for the New Hampshire Office of Planning and Development Spring 2025 Planning and Zoning Conference on May 10th. The New Hampshire Spring Conference, you folks did email that to us, did we not? Okay, very good. I didn't open it yet. I just saw that you sent something relative to
Never
that.
admit you don't read your emails.
Well, sometimes you like to leave those special emails to a time you know you can fully digest their whole meaning and intentions. So, anyway, it's very informative, and a lot of case law gets discussed, as well as some basic training.
Are we still gonna have that May, whatever it was, 27th?
May 22nd.
We do still have the May 22nd workshop that will be
Okay.
here. It will be posted by our clerk, as it will be a joint meeting with the planning board, and we have special instruction, instructors, or instructor, from, might be from OPD, I think, but, and they'll go through zoning board behavior. It's well-rounded, so. That being said, thank you for the reminder of the correspondence, Mr. Tripp. And without any further ado, we can take a motion to adjourn.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Burgess, seconded by Mr. Corbett. All in favor of adjournment, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? We are adjourned. Have a good evening, everybody.
I'd like Mr. Tripp to provide a detailed readout on Town and Country magazine for May 1st.